Hi everyone, welcome to the new video. So today we will see the reason why pods go into pending state and one of the solution that can fix it. So this is a kind of Kubernetes troubleshooting, or you can say the solution to the common errors in Kubernetes. So without further ado, let's start. So our pod, when we check the pod status is pending. Okay, it is showing pending, and when we are checking basically we describe the pod so that we are able to see the events. So you can see the status is pending, as I am saying the pod status, and the events is saying that uh, 0 to the 0 at the, like 0/1 nodes are available and one insufficient CPU. Like there are worker nodes on which our pod is trying to get scheduled, but it is not, like, the scheduler is not able to schedule the pod, and that's why it is going into pending state. So basically, what can be the reason that some pod have taint and the pod is not able to tolerate the taint? What is taint? So taint is basically when we put some conditions on our nodes. So the pods which have toleration of those conditions, that can tolerate those conditions, can only get scheduled. Like on master node, why our pods don't get scheduled? Because that the master node has taint on it. It has condition like no schedule condition, or something that if any pod will have that toleration of tolerating that condition, then only it will get scheduled. So in master node, only the main component, like cube scheduler, controllers, only these pods are running. Okay, while the normal application pods don't run on the master node, they get scheduled on only worker nodes. So that's why few pods have taint. That's why the pod is not getting scheduled on that node. Few pods have the node selector mismatch. So when we in a YAML we define node selector. So if we have defined node selector and our node, the nodes have different labels, because of the mismatch of labels, our pod is not getting scheduled on that node as well. And the some pods where our nodes can get where our pods can get scheduled, the amount of CPU that our pod is requesting, the node does not have that much CPU. Maybe other pods are running, they are utilizing, and whatever is left is not sufficient for our pod, because whatever CPU request we have defined. So we define the CPU request and limit in our YAML file, so that this is the request and this is the limit, so that it doesn't consume all the CPU. That's why we have to define the request and the limit. So because of that, our pod is going into pending state. So node 1, as I said, suppose this is a example that node 1 has taint of no schedule, and that's why it is available for CPU, but it's not getting scheduled. Node 2 has no taint, but it has label HDD, while our pods have label SSD. That's why it is not getting scheduled. But node 3 has the same label, it has no taint also, but the available CPU is 500M. But when we check so in these cases, try to check the YAML file, that what all resources we have requested. We have requested around 2 GB or something. So that's why our pod is not getting scheduled on node 3, because only 500M CPU is left. So what we can do is, we need to change it to something 250, because it has 500M left. So if we change it to 250, it will get scheduled. So we need to check our configuration, that if our pod will be able to run with this configuration, if it is not requesting more than what is expected to make it up, we can change the CPU request, and then we can run accordingly, and this will solve our issue. So this is how we can, this is one of the solution to solve the error of pending state. So yeah, that's all for today's video. I hope it's helpful. Please let me know in the comment section. Till then, take care. Bye.